Hello, everybody. My name is meteorologist Hutch Johnson, joining you as a storm system has worked its way out of the Rockies, bringing severe weather to the Great Lakes region in the form of an ice storm. Winter storm warnings spread across portions of northern Michigan. Wisconsin getting hammered pretty good with some heavy bands of snow as well. Tornadoes out across the central and northern plains as we head into the evening hours. That threat making its way to the east, and a very large segment, a Boeing line segment of storms, bringing serious wind threats to parts of the Great Lakes region, while the tornado threat seems to be shifting down to the south. In this update, we're going to go across the very latest and what these wild weather swings across the nation are doing right now. We're going to start with the pressing concerns with regards to tornado warnings. We're going to move from south to north with the storm right now as we look down in Lufkin, Texas, and parts of Arkansas. Let's get down to the region down south of Tyler, just north of Nacogdoches and Henderson. We have a severe thunderstorm warning. This blue would indicate a hail core moving off to the east. The storm motion off to the east, gusts to 70 miles per hour. This is a considerable threat from this particular storm as it works its way up to the east. 2.5-inch diameter hail possible from that puppy. And look at some of these hail reports, upwards of 1.8 inches from this storm as it was reported by the public there, to have that golf ball sized hail working its way through. That storm's working off to the east. Now let's take a look off to the north just a little bit as we sneak up into parts of Arkansas. Heading toward Pine Bluff right now is a thunderstorm that is working its way off to the east northeast, is heading in the general direction of Carthage right now. The hail core with this maybe dwindling just a pinch out there right now. It is below severe criteria as it works its way through, so keep that in mind. But sizable hail to around 3/4 of an inch in diameter is possible. Here we go as we get up into parts near Jonesboro and point south. This line, a linear line of storms here on the very southern tip here. We do have a tornado-warned storm moving out of the Truman area, and it's right over the Mark Tree region right now. This tornado-warned storm is a radar-indicated rotation found in the cloud of the storm there, and 1.5-inch diameter hail possible from that cell. Here is where it is right now, over the Mark Tree area at this time, heading towards Joyner by 8:44. If you're in the Bassett area, 8:46 this storm will be in your neck of the woods. These are all central times, as is this one up here. So if you're watching from a different time zone, let me know. By the way, if you're watching Hutch's Weather, I'm a meteorologist who has been a chief meteorologist on the air for the better part of 30 years, and now I'm streaming online, and I appreciate doing it. But in the path of these storms tonight, there is a tornado threat and a dangerous wind threat as you look to the north as well. So if you are in that Dias area, you can see here this storm making its way up to the east, moving towards Wilson and Dias at this particular time. Take your tornado precautions at this particular time. Now, I'll go ahead and draw in just a little bit closer. We'll pull up the National Weather Service Doppler radar that is very close to the storm, and it should allow us a good view inside what's going on. Heavy rain up here by Osceola, but as we go towards Mark Tree, where the rotation is, we actually see this little bite taken out of the storm down here, and that is indeed the area of concern with this storm system. It looks like it's still a radar-indicated tornado. I just wanted to double-check that. Now we'll look at some velocity displays. This Doppler radar allows us to look inside the storm to see where the wind directions are either blowing toward the radar or away from the radar. And right next to Mark Tree, we do have that rotation prevalent right there in that general vicinity. So again, moving off to the east towards Dias. Now, as you go up to the north, these storms here, as I switch back to your regular reflectivity data, taking on that backward C shape right through here toward the Gosnell area and heading in towards Ripley. And that storm there is capable of some significant winds. There's a severe thunderstorm warning for this storm. 60-mile-per-hour gusts will be possible as that storm blows its way off to the east. Other communities in the path of this dangerous line of thunderstorms, Tiptonville, Kenton, all the way up towards Union City. This storm on the north side here not showing as much reflectivity, but it's getting farther away from that radar that we're using as our display tool right now. Dryesburg, you're also seeing that storm moving right along the I-155 corridor off to the east. So be prepared for those storms. Now, if you are in the Paducah, Kentucky area, you do have some storms up in your neck of the woods that are very severe as well. But let's go to the Louisville, Kentucky radar. We have a tornado-warned storm up here, and this one is right over the area heading toward that Elizabethtown, Hardensburg, and Irvington at this particular time. So let's let the radar data load up, and we'll see what we have going on with regard to this storm here. As far as the National Weather Service, boy, look at that. You see that little curly Q right there? That is an indication that there could be some spin in the cloud. And when you have spin in the cloud, what the radar is seeing is raindrop-sized particles, hailstones and such. If you have a vortex in there spinning real fast, it throws the big raindrops and hail out like a centrifuge, and you get features like that, a hook echo right there. Now, take a look with your eye and see where it's located, and now we'll turn on a look at the velocity display. And if I mark with my finger what it looks like right there, let's take a look and see. And yes, we indeed do have velocity display there showing that there is some spin or rotation in the storm in that particular point. Now, this storm is moving off to the east. It's heading towards Fort Knox. It's heading towards Radcliffe. This storm system, again, will be in the general vicinity of Vine Grove by 8:45 Central Time, so keep that in mind. A dangerous storm there. We got a new tornado warning now as we take a look at this cell that's right up to the north here by West Point. Tornado warning, a radar indicated storm here as well. That is working its way off to the east at 56 miles per hour. So here you go. As you take a look at this particular storm, there's the velocity couplet, is what we call it in meteorology, where we have the greens and the reds very close to each other. The radar being located right here near West Point, pointing this direction, showing that there's motion away from the radar and the reds and towards this, the green colors that you see there as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the, we'll also include that very fast motion in the storm. And the storm motion out, you either add that to the wind speed or take it away from the wind speed. And there it is, showing us that we have this couplet that's right here, moving right in the general direction of you folks in Ekron. So if you are in the Ekron area, even Bradenburg and paths in between, there is a very strong outflow from this storm showing up right here, coupled with some reds motion away toward the radar. So that is the area of concern with this storm as it works its way towards these areas. So here are some areas in the path of the storm. Fort Knox, by the time we get to 8:40, it should be near you. You'll want to be getting into a sturdy structure. Get out of things like mobile homes, manufactured homes. Make sure that you have a home that is attached to its foundation. And get to the lowest floor possible and make sure you get to an interior room, putting as many walls between you and the storm as possible. All right, other areas. We do have active tornado warnings outside of this area here near Xenia. As we look down into the oh boy, let's go ahead and back up just a little bit to give us some Parkersburg, West Virginia. They're looking at Ohio here now. So as we go back down into Ohio, there's a radar right here, right in the path of this particular storm. So two tornado warnings here moving east at 55 miles per hour, 1-inch diameter hail. Here comes the radar data. Let's get in on this and take a peek at what we see here. One very, very stout example of a couplet where we have some reds and greens next to each other here. This storm looks to be mainly making its way to the east at that very fast clip towards Greenfield by around 8:50 p.m. Central Time. So East Coast time, that would be 9:54. Keep that in mind when you're looking at some of these time stamps here. And then again, as we take a look to the north, there was a storm warning near Port William, pardon me, right along the interstate here. We still have some evidence of some shear or spin in the storm just to the south of these areas. A very dangerous storm, and a look from the National Weather Service saying that this is a radar indicated tornado. 1-inch hail is also going to be possible from this particular thunderstorm cell as it works its way through. Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest radar from the single site there. And let's look at the single site radar data. That's not the fancy colors we've been looking at here. Okay, so that is a look at that. Now let me zoom back out. I think my computer is not liking my switching of the radar data. Now let's get up onto the Cleveland area, Willard, and up on the north side of this storm system here. What we're going to notice as we sneak up into the Great Lakes areas is backward C-shape to this. So for this, I'm going to put up the national composite radar here that shows all the radars stitched together into one nice picture. You see this huge backward C-shape? This is called a Boeing line segment. It is actually a cold front that's blowing in behind this snow system you see by Wisconsin Rapids here. This has caused some very gusty winds here recorded down in some areas. So there has been thunderstorm wind damage outside of Flint, Michigan. So we look in just a little bit closer here. It looks like Sarnia as well as the Sterling Heights area reporting trees down from these storms. So you can expect in the path of this Boeing line segment here, some individual areas very localized with extremely strong straight line winds. They have a history of producing some damage. On the winter side of this storm, Sault Ste. Marie, Kentucky, the UP of Michigan, even northernmost Michigan right now under ice storm warnings at this particular time. This is where the ice storm warnings are and watches. Now, we have a storm system that is not even formed yet that is going to be developing, and then we have a winter storm watch for parts of North Dakota, Minnesota, and South Dakota. But the ongoing storm system that you're seeing right now making its way toward the Great Lakes, ice storm warning as we look up into the northern reaches of Michigan. And then in the UP, basically from Sault Ste. Marie all the way back into northern Wisconsin, winter storm warnings are in place right now. This is very close to Green Bay, but as you can see here, not inclusive of Green Bay at this time. But just off to the west of you, near Kashina, we're also seeing near Stevens Point some very heavy snow bands working their way in these general vicinities. What does it look like in Wisconsin right now? Those roads are very, very tough to travel. And let's take a look at the DOT site there to get the latest road conditions. Where you see pink here, roads are completely covered with snow. We'll take you in a little bit closer to that Stevens Point area. We were just pointing that out on the radar here. Let's see what it looks like there as we take a look at some DOT cameras in the area, and certainly some very wet and sticky snow impacting roads in the great state of Wisconsin at this particular time. So travel impacted by this wintry system there as we work our way through. So we do have areas in the nation now that continue with thunderstorm and tornado watches. So let's go ahead and close up with a detailed look at that as we go into the evening hours. So here we go back to the national view. Whoopsies. Now, this whole area that you see in orange, that's the Storm Prediction Center's thunderstorm outlook. It's been like that for the last 2 days, a very large area where there could be widespread severe weather, and that's indeed what's happening. These red counties you see here stretching from the great state of Ohio out there near Chillicothe and out towards Columbus, tornado watch. A tornado watch means that, well, we have all the ingredients we need for tornadic thunderstorms, and that's indeed what we have. We have tornado warnings that are in place out there as we were going over some of those for Sabina, Martinsville, New Vienna. Those areas are all under tornado warnings right now. The other red boxes that sneak all the way back toward Louisville, Kentucky, on into the Elizabethtown area here, where we do have active tornado warnings in the red boxes, but the tornado watch continues. You can see the Boeing line segment here. Very gusty straight line winds will also be a premier factor with these storms. So make sure you are in a sturdy structure. Stay away from those windows. These wind gusts will come at you from the west and blow toward the east, and some of the gusts today have exceeded 70 and 80 miles per hour from a few of these storms. Now, there is just a narrow tornado watch that continues from Kentucky right along the border here, southern parts of Illinois, and right into northeastern parts of Arkansas. We do have storms working their way in towards parts of southern and central Arkansas and the Pine Bluff area. Hot Springs, Little Rock, these storms have been non-severe. You are still in a slight risk area, but this yellow box shaded area that you see down here near Texas and Texarkana is a severe thunderstorm watch, but it is only in effect for the next hour and a half or so, as these storms and the threat is exiting this area completely in the upcoming little bit. So that is a look at the nation's weather. Here we have winter storm warnings taking place in the Sierra Nevada, Northern California, winter weather advisories for the mountains of parts of northern Utah, eastern reaches of Idaho, and out toward the Wyoming border as a storm system that is going to be heading into the northern plains will work its way through. I have a video on how that storm is going to impact the northern plains. This is Hutch's home turf right here. So again, if you have any questions at all, please drop a line. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate everyone who has taken the time to say howdy and to watch for the evening hours. If you're in the path of the storms working their way through the Central Plains tonight, please be aware the tornado risk does continue for the next couple of hours at least, and then as we head into the overnight hours, we're expecting things to quiet down just a little bit. And as we take a quick peek at the hour-by-hour forecast from a national model here, we'll go ahead and take a look at this so that we can get you the latest with regards to where this storm is heading and when it will be there. So we're wrapping up this, and I want to get a higher resolution model here that's just coming out. So here we go. As we take a look at this brand new model, it's an hourly updated high resolution convective allowing model showing the storms that are working through now. We'll continue as we go through the midnight and 1 a.m. hour in through Kentucky and head into West Virginia, and then they really start to taper off. But in the deep south, there'll be a little bit more energy for these fizzling, festering storms to continue to skirt into the deep south there as we go through and into the panhandle of Florida. But by the time we get to the mid-morning hours, those should be winding down for the most part. And in the afternoon, most of the energy from this storm system will be out over the Atlantic. Meanwhile, as we go through our Monday night and Tuesday morning, a Colorado low will develop right here, mainly more in Wyoming. And as it skirts across Nebraska and South Dakota, bands of very heavy snow and gusty wind will be accompanying the storm system as it moves through the northern plains. So we start the month of April out in the northern plains like a wet cat. And wet cats can sometimes be a little bit unhappy. Snowfall reports from today's event moving through the northern plains have been significant. Here's a quick peek at some of those as well. When we look out in Montana, where you see the orange dots here, that's 12 to 18 inches of snowfall from that particular storm system there. Taking a closer look now as we go through parts of South Dakota, we had numerous reports of around 10 inches of snow in south central South Dakota from this system. There was a little lull or kind of a gap in the snowfall with this system as it moved through western parts of Minnesota. Then it started picking up in big ways as it made its way through the Duluth region. 3 to 5 inches of snow, even more as we go into northern parts of Wisconsin, where the snow continues right now, and the reports are just coming in. Look at the UP up here. As you take a look up in the area near Sault Ste. Marie and Marquette, Michigan, over 10 inches of snow reported for a few areas. And how about 12.6 inches here in Negaunee, 4 miles to the northeast. So that's a look at what's going on right now. I am meteorologist Hutch Johnson, appreciating you, making sure that you stay weather informed as you go through the night tonight, all the way from the Ohio River Valley straight down into the Gulf. Have a wonderful evening. You can find more information on me and the weather here in the Northern Plains anytime, anywhere, hutchesweather.com. Click the follow button on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube, and have a safe and wonderful